What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. Now, I hate to come on the podcast and start things off by bragging out the gate. You know, I'm usually more humble than that. I don't like to rub anything in you guys' faces. However, I told you guys last week on the episode that if you saw me in the Lady Gaga Ticketmaster queue with my fists up, guns a-blazing to mind your business, because I was going to get those Lady Gaga tickets, whether it was the last thing that I did. And I now have Lady Gaga Mayhem Ball tickets sitting in my Ticketmaster account. No thanks to myself and no thanks to Ticketmaster helping me out. But once again, thanks to my girls, Carolyn and Alyssa. I don't know how they have the blessed Ticketmaster account that they do, but if you listened last week, I was saying how I got my Ariana Grande tickets only because my girls got me these tickets and came through. The same girls, my sisters, came through and helped me get Gaga tickets. So now I am officially going to the Mayhem Ball next March. I cannot wait. Like, I truly feel like I have been just manifesting getting these tickets between going to the box office, between sitting on, like, I was sitting on Ticketmaster the night of the first round of MSG shows to the point where my eyes felt like they were going to bulge out of my head. Like, I was in physical pain looking at my computer screen for so long. And like, I look at a screen all day long. Like, it is very much a problem because I'm always working or I'm doing something for the podcast or the newsletter or whatever. Like, I don't get fatigue from screens. And the fact that I was literally in pain after looking at Ticketmaster for so long at these Gaga tickets is incredibly embarrassing, but also, you know, hard work pays off. And I am so excited to be seeing Gaga next March. I cannot wait. And yes, I have some time to wait, but you know what? It'll all be worth it. I am so excited. So obviously I had to come on and start the show with that because I told you guys that if there was the last thing I was going to do, I was getting these tickets, and now they're in my Ticketmaster account. And I didn't pay that much. The price was for 2025, like, it was a very reasonable price for the seats that I got, and I am over the moon. My paws are up, and I cannot wait. I am so excited and so happy that I'm seeing the Mayhem Ball. I thought it wasn't going to happen, but never say never. That being said, as I said last week, I also spent my weekend in Montreal, which was so fabulous, you guys. I loved it. I'm a city person. Like, I would much rather travel to a city than a beach or anything like that. Like, I just like to be in a city. I like the hustle and bustle. I like, you know, the vibe of a city. So whenever I get to visit a new city and cross it off my list, I'm always so excited. And Montreal did not disappoint. First and foremost, the biggest lesson that I learned after the weekend is that New Yorkers have a drinking problem. I am used to a regular GBP, gay bar pour in New York, you know, a West Village, a Hell's Kitchen gay bar pour. That is my standard. Those are the bars that I frequent. And like, I am used to handling that amount of, you know, tequila to soda ratio. When we were in Montreal, the first night that we were there, we legitimately were drinking for like 4.5 hours straight, and not one of us felt drunk, which is terrifying that none of us felt even the slightest bit tipsy by the end of the night after drinking for so long, and B, really, really telling of the drinking problems that we have in New York, and really just, I feel like in America in general. I could not believe it. I was like, I am trying so hard to get drunk, and I legitimately cannot. So that was our first night. But the second night, when we actually like went out and like went dancing, we were just like bar hopping the first night. But the night that we like went out, went dancing, we like went in the gay village, like up and down the gay strip. We were like, all right, we need to pregame a little bit harder. So some White Claw surges, some shots, you know, a gummy. We were pulling out all the stops to make sure we were feeling that buzz the whole night long. So we figured it out. But I really was like, oh wow, Americans drink a lot more than other people, and that's probably why, you know, we're so upside down and backwards. You know, there's definitely some deeper meanings into why we drink so much. It was also, it's not funny what happened, but it was very poetic that we fled the country literally the day after all of those shenanigans went down with that podcaster that now everybody is suddenly obsessed with in mourning. And I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it because I feel like I'm ready to put this to rest. But you know, it's a crazy world that we're living in, and it's crazy to see the way people are reacting to this situation when there's been so many other similar situations of innocent people who weren't preaching pro guns, you know, and now suddenly this is happening and people are like up in arms. And I'm like, where have you all been? Like, I'm the first one to, you know, preach for gun control, but like, where has everybody been for the last how many shootings that we've had for innocent children and things like that, or trans people or people of color and Black people. And now suddenly there's an uproar. It just, it sounds about white, but I'm going to leave it at that. But yes, it was very fun to flee the country, honestly, for this weekend. And we obviously booked this months ago because it was a Bachelorette, but we picked a good weekend to be out of America, I will say. But yeah, Montreal was fabulous. At the time of my life, I definitely want to go back and just like explore the city more. But that being said, we have a lot to dive into this week. There's been a lot going on, and a lot of music specifically, and some very exciting music at that. So I think without further ado, let's hop into the show and kick things off the way that we always do with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week, and our new music releases coming up this week, and kicking it off probably with the strongest way possible. Like I have been waiting for this. I have been talking about this. I have been praising this artist and this upcoming album and every single single from this artist, and the fact that it is finally here. I am talking about Jade's debut album, That Showbiz Baby. Oh my God. Now, I have been on the Jane. I mean, I was a huge fan of Little Mix. I went to go see them on tour multiple times. Like, I was in it with Little Mix. So when they did go solo, I've been following their solo careers here and there, but nobody has captivated me the way that Jade Thirlwall has. Like, I'm just buying everything she is selling. And as soon as I started hearing the first singles and everything like that, like, I've been hooked since Angel of My Dreams. And the fact that every single has just continued to be incredible pop music over and over and over. This was my most anticipated album of 2025 for sure. Like, I was so excited for this album, and my God, did it live up to every single expectation. I cannot get over how great this album is. Like, I knew I was going to love it just from, I think we got like 6 singles from this album. So there was a really long single run and kind of a really long rollout. And I always say, I'm like, I don't like a long rollout. I don't like multiple singles from an album. Give me like 2-3 tops. Jade was my exception because the music was so incredible that I was like, you know what? I don't care if I hear this entire album before it's released. I am buying every single thing she is selling, and the rest of the album is so incredibly good. Like, I haven't listened to anything but this album since I got home because it is perfection. My favorite on the album, without a doubt, is Natural at Disaster. This is in my top 5 songs of the year for sure. Like, I don't know where it falls yet. Of course, we still have some months left. We have some other albums coming out, and I need to really, sit with it more. It is absolutely top 5 songs that I have heard this entire year. I think the lyrics of it, the way that the line where she says like, you built a bridge out of matches, and like all of these things about just like this person who is naturally causing disasters everywhere they go, and her vocal on top of it with that harsh kind of guitar that comes in. Oh my God, it is perfection. And I actually, like, listening to it for the first time, I was sitting there with my jaw dropped. I was on the plane coming home and I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. Like, this is grade A pop music. I mean, I could truly go on about this album for hours. I think Silent Disco, the album closer, is beautiful. Her vocals on it, everything about it, I just absolutely love. And I think it's such a wonderful way to end the album. It's so beautiful and soft and just has this really beautiful message to it. And speaking of the album order, like I said, that is the album closer. I thought it was really interesting. Jade had said in an interview that this wasn't the track list that she had already envisioned for the album. She wanted it to go in a different order, but her label wanted it to go this way, where it was like the singles in order of release and then the additional tracks at the end, which I think the album is flawless top to bottom. Like, I think the songs are so strong that whatever order you put them in, it would be fine. And there are definitely some songs that are in the correct order because I think it's Self-Saboteur into Lip Service. I want to say they kind of like bleed and blend into each other. So there are some songs that I think are paired where they're supposed to be, but I am really curious what the track list would look like had Jade had her full creative vision. But I also do think that, like, regardless of the order of the album, I'm seeing a lot of people on the internet really the high of the album, which, I mean, there's so many highs on the album, but like one of the biggest moments on the album is when we get to Before You Break My Heart. And we not only get the sample of Stop in the Name of Love, which I mean is one of the most iconic songs of all time. Not only is she sampling the Supremes, which alone is just major, she's sampling her younger self on this track. There is a vocal arrangement of a younger Jade, covering Stop in the Name of Love. And they pulled that vocal and put it on this track. So there's just so many layers. I mean, quite literally layers, because that is how music is created. But there's so many like layers into how this song just kind of comes to life and really is a full circle moment. I mean, Jade has said so many times how girl groups and specifically Diana Ross and the Supremes have really been such an inspiration to her. And I mean, looking at where she started with Little Mix in a girl group and then now going solo and still kind of drawing inspiration from prior girl groups and showing how that really has always influenced her. I think it's such a great way to pay homage to not only music and, you know, the history that was before Little Mix and, you know, all these years before with people like Diana Ross, with the Supremes, with all of these incredible artists before her, but to pay homage to her path and, you know, give a little nod to like, yeah, I started in a girl group and now I'm doing my own thing and I'm doing it perfectly. Seriously, this album has exceeded every single expectation. If you have not listened to it yet, I give you permission to pause the podcast right now and go listen to the entire album, but you do have to come back after. Like, make me that promise, pinky promise now, you'll come back after you listen, but please take this time and go listen to Jade's album because it is seriously a masterpiece from start to finish. Moving on to the next release that we had from last week, because if I don't physically stop myself from talking about Jade, I will talk about it for the next 3.5 hours. We had Demi Lovato with her new single Here All Night, which we now know is from her upcoming album It's Not That Deep, but we'll get to that in just a second. I'm really into this song. I'm enjoying it. If you were listening when I was talking about when Fast came out, I was saying I'm into the music. I think it's really good, but I don't feel it is authentic to Demi. And I do still stand by that. Like, I do think it's a little weird that Demi Lovato is releasing party tracks and like club music when like her history with, you know, partying and drugs is so prominent in her brand. But, you know, like, she's on this whole new wave. She's married, she's doing her thing, she's like releasing a cookbook and is a housewife and all these things. So like, if you can make great pop music and like that's not the lifestyle you're living, who am I to judge? Like, I'm not going to deny when music is good, and Demi is giving us very good pop music right now. So I am all over this. I'm very, very, very impressed with what Demi is giving us as of lately. And also, she looks incredible. Like, she looks fantastic. All of her Fashion Week looks that she's been giving, I'm really into. So you know what? I'll give you your flowers where flowers are due. As I said, Demi is giving us a very great era right now. That being said, the era now has a name, and the album is called It's Not That Deep, which I do really like that as an album title because similar to what I was just saying, like, oh, I think Demi's this, Demi's that. She's like, it's not that deep. Just enjoy my music and keep it rolling. And you know what? I appreciate the bluntness. I appreciate, you know, she's telling you, put a sock in it. It's not that deep. Put the music on and shut the fuck up. And you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. The album artwork, I like it. It's not like the craziest cover I've ever seen. I was a little confused at first. And then I read part of her paper magazine and I was like, all right, I understand the cover a little bit better now. Basically, I was confused because I was like, why are there people playing chess in the bottom corner? And like, why is there a kid with a soccer ball and a dog when like, there's just like a lot going on in the album cover. And she was kind of saying how like, there's, you know, there's all of this chaos going on around her and she's still posing for the camera, doing her thing. And there was a lot more to it, but the gist of it is like, again, it's not that deep. Shut the fuck up and enjoy the music. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. But the album comes out later next month, October 24th. And I am excited for it. I personally couldn't tell you the last time I was excited for a Demi Lovato album. So this is big stuff happening over here at Too Pop to Handle, and I'm very excited. We will chat more about the album as we get closer to the release date. And then the final release that we had last week was from my girl Rachel Chinariri. She released a new single called What a Life, and I'm going to be fully honest, I have not listened to it yet. I will get to it. I will get around to it. But knowing my history with Rachel Chinariri, I'm sure I will love it. She tacked it on to the new EP that she had put out like a few months ago, so it is just like part of that project now. I will listen to it. We will chat about it. I'm sure I'll be able to listen to it over the next week, but you know, between traveling and this and that, there's a lot going on. So I will get to it when I get to it. But very exciting to know that Rachel is still giving us some new music because she just loves to keep us fed. And that wraps up all of our releases from last week. But we have a huge list of releases coming out this week. Like, huge list of releases. So first and foremost, we have Madison Beer releasing her new single, Yes Baby. Didn't love Madison's last project, but I do have a soft spot for Madison Beer. I don't know why. I always come back around to her. So I am excited to see what she is giving on this era. There are also very strong rumors that she is opening for Ariana Grande on the Eternal Sunshine tour. So we will see like what that entails. But regardless, I am excited for this new single to see what she is giving us with this new era. And then the next release that we have coming out next week is so exciting. If you remember a few weeks ago, I was talking about how Billy Ray Cyrus like accidentally leaked a Miley Cyrus and Fleetwood Mac collab. And now the song is coming out this Friday. Secrets is getting released. There's been a lot of rumors about a Something Beautiful Deluxe. I don't know if that is happening or, what this is considered. It might just be like a standalone single. We know Miley loves to do that, but we will see. Regardless, I am so excited for this new Miley track. It sounds fabulous. We also have some very exciting albums and EPs coming out. First and foremost, Cardi B, Am I the Drama, the long-awaited sophomore album that has had truly one of the best album rollouts I have seen in years. We'll talk all about it next week when we talk about the album, but Cardi is truly killing it with this album rollout, and I am so excited for this album. I was kind of getting over waiting for a Cardi album. I was like, I was so into it, with Invasion of Privacy and the first album and everything and the singles, and then she just made us wait so long for this album. So I was like, I'm not even excited anymore. I have completely done a 180. I am so excited for this album. I cannot wait to see what she has in store for us. We also have a new album coming out from Miss Lola Young called I'm Only Fucking Myself. I've been loving all of the singles from this album, so I'm really excited to dive into the entire project and see what Miss Lola Young is cooking up. And then finally, we have a new EP from Ally and AJ called More Silver coming out this Friday, which I'm very excited about. I feel like people really sleep on Ally and AJ's new music, and I am one of them, honestly. I listen to it. I always, I can recognize it, I hear it, but I don't listen to it enough. And maybe that's something I need to start changing in 2025 because they really are making great music, and I need to start adding them into my rotation more. So maybe this EP will be, the straw that breaks the camel's back, and I will tune into Ally and AJ a little bit more, but very exciting to see new music from them. And that wraps up our Drew releases. But before we get into our moments from the week that were just too pop to handle, some pop culture rapid fire, I always like to take this time to remind you guys that if any point during this episode you are loving what you were hearing, go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating. It is seriously the best way to help support the show, gets us into other people's algorithms, into other people's ears. And if you are loving the show, wouldn't you want other people to love it as well? It really would mean the world to me. But of course, to leave me a 5-star rating and to know that you are loving the show, I need to give you a show to love. So let's keep this ball rolling and dive into some pop culture rapid fire. Kicking it off with some Broadway news, some very exciting Broadway news, honestly. Dreamgirls is getting a revival on Broadway in fall 2026, and I, for one, cannot wait. The new revival will be directed and choreographed by Camille A. Brown, who also just did Gypsy and Hell's Kitchen. And the producers for the show are Sonia Friedman, who worked on Queen of Versailles, which is opening in just a few weeks on Broadway, starring Kristen Chenoweth. She also worked on the Dreamgirls UK tour, Funny Girl on Broadway, Mean Girls on Broadway. Sue Wagner and John Johnson are also producing it, who worked on John Proctor as the villain in All Nighter. And then finally, we also have LaChains, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that right, producing the show, who worked on Kimberly Akimbo and also co-produced The Outsider. So we have some pretty big hitters on this show. And I mean, Dreamgirls is already such a huge show. It's so beloved and has, such a big, reputation on Broadway, and people love the movie and everything. So this is a very exciting revival. And along with the revival news, they also announced that they are doing a nationwide casting search to find the next generation of the Dreams. And on one hand, I love this. I mean, I love when they go out and try to find, the next star. It's giving Nikki Blonsky, Hairspray, which was the biggest news in the world if you guys remember when that happened. People were talking about that for weeks on the news, that they were casting some random nobody for Hairspray. It's giving the Glee Project. It's giving American Idol. They're out to find, the girl at home who nobody knows is going to be the next big star. And I love that, especially for a show like Dreamgirls, where the cast is, if not entirely all a black cast, predominantly a black cast. I think the entire cast is black, though, which we also applaud having that on Broadway because we need more of that representation. I love that they're, trying to give people who might not have had, that traditional upbringing in the theater or things like that, this is their chance, this is their time to be a star kind of vibe. But on the other hand, I'm like, Amber Riley and Jasmine Amy Rogers are right there. And I would love to see the two of them in this revival. But I also do, like I said, I love the idea of giving, an underdog a chance and somebody who maybe isn't as experienced or seasoned or doesn't have, the history or the resume for, if you want to call it that, to be on Broadway. So I think this is a really fun approach. I mean, also, if you think Jennifer Hudson got her Oscar for her role in Dreamgirls, Jennifer Holliday won the Tony. She, originated the role. Sheryl Lee Ralph, this was her first big break on Broadway. So Dreamgirls is a show that kind of makes dreams come true, if you will. And that kind of leads me to the next idea, and the next like dream that could come with this is Beyonce getting an EGOT. Now that we are halfway to EGOT status after she got the Emmy, this could kind of be her pivot into the Tonys, knowing that she was so involved in the movie production back in 2008 when that was a thing. And, she loved that role so much and she was so proud to have played that role. It kind of makes me wonder, like, not that she's going to be in the show by all means. I don't think Beyonce is stepping on the Broadway stage in that sense, but like, is she going to, be behind the scenes? Is she going to do something music wise or, whatever it may be? I wonder if she's going to put her hand in this to kind of attempt to give her a chance at winning a Tony, to get her even closer to EGOT status, and not even just to be like award driven or motivated. I do know that she loves this show so much and she loved playing this role, and she took it was so serious to her, as it should be. And when you think of the Dreamgirls movie and the soundtrack, like, people really love that movie and that soundtrack, as they should. It's fantastic. So it makes me wonder if Beyonce's going to get her hand involved. We all thought she was going to be part of the Wiz revival. That was like a really big rumor going around. And she had said years ago that like after she's done with doing her music and everything like that, Broadway is something that she is interested in. Now that was, when was that? Probably around Dreamgirls era. Like, that was years ago that she had made that statement. And like, who knows if that's really what she still wants to do, or if she was just saying it to, play into the theatrics of it all. But I am curious to see if like maybe she'll have some hand in this production to try to either A, just like put her stamp on Broadway, and B, get her closer to an EGOT. We will see. I don't know. But regardless, I am very excited to see that Dreamgirls is coming back. And I can't wait to see this, nationwide casting search that they do to find the next dreams of our generation. And speaking of new generations and, kind of new waves of beloved franchises or shows and things of that matter, we found out that the new Bachelorette for the upcoming season is Taylor Frankie Paul from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And there are some mixed reviews online. So she announced it last week on Call Her Daddy that she will be the new Bachelorette. And now, if you don't watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Taylor is kind of the head bitch in charge. Like, she is the one who started Mom Talk. She is the one who exposed everybody for being swingers. And she kind of, though she goes in and out of, being in Mom Talk, she had her moments where she was in it, where she wasn't. She definitely has her hands on the reins of that show, and I feel like she is the most loved character out of all of the girls. I would say, like, I think she has the biggest cult-like following. So on one hand, it makes so much sense for ABC and The Bachelorette to dip into this pool and pull somebody who already has an audience, already has people who love her. And like, during the season, if you go to Taylor's comments, like, people are, I mean, it happens all the time, but like specifically when the show is airing, people ride or die for this girl. Like, they love her so much. So I really think ABC tapping into her. And I mean, the Mormon Wives are having such a moment right now there. We have Whitney and Jen on Dancing with the Stars. Jen just did that Dunkin' Donuts advertisement with Ben Affleck, which is like a whole nother thing. I can't even like dive into that because the layers to it were insane. But the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are having such a moment right now. They're about to come back for season 3, season 4, whatever it is, later this year. Like, there's a lot going on with them right now. So in terms of like buzzy people to get, it makes so much sense. But I do understand why Bachelorette fans aren't thrilled about this. Now, I've never watched a season of The Bachelor, of The Bachelorette. I've never watched any of it. Legitimately, not a second, not a millisecond, and nothing. I couldn't tell you shit about this show. But I can understand why Bachelorette fans are a little upset about this, because the whole point of The Bachelorette is to bring, regular kind of people into the show, make them find love, this fairy tale moment, and then, they ride off into the sunset and do what they got to do. Now, Taylor is obviously bringing in not only an entire viewership of TV show watchers, but the cast of men that are going to be on this show are now more likely to be going on the show, not so much for love, but to clout chase. And on one hand, like, it's very much giving Love Island. It's very much, they go on the show because they want to be influencers, they want to be famous, whatever. And on Love Island, I'm like, you know what? It sucks. It's annoying and I don't want it. But like, at least they're coupled up and there's got to be some type of connection. When we are watching, I don't know how many men start the season, but let's say they start with 15 men and one Bachelorette. And we are watching 15 men try to clout chase over one woman. I'm like, is this going to be interesting? Like, are they actually going to be there for love? Is she going to find love? Or is it just going to be another situation where like these people fall in love on camera and then within 3 weeks they're out and they're done? I don't know. I'm back and forth on if I'm going to watch, because I do enjoy watching Taylor on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Like, I do think she is good TV. I just don't know if like she is the right person in terms of like mental stability. I mean, of course I don't know her, but just like watching her on the show and like seeing what she's gone through in her past relationships, I'm kind of like, is this the best idea? Like, do we think this is the best route for somebody like her? Not that she doesn't deserve love, because she obviously deserves love. She deserves a stable, situation for her children and things like that. But I'm just like, we have seen her get played on television so many times, and like even her family is so rotted towards her when it comes to these things. So like, I just hope this doesn't open up wounds for her and like open up doors where people are just like kind of like throwing jokes her way, because like, I don't think she deserves that after all the shit that we've seen her go through on television. Between the arrest, everything going on, just like there's a lot that's happened to this girl on TV already. I'm like, are we about to open up this can of worms even more? But you know what? I'm not the casting director. It's going to probably make great TV, and I understand why they did it. Will I be tuning in? Maybe. I don't know. I've got a lot on my docket, I feel like, this season. There's a lot. I mean, while I'm recording this right now, Dancing with the Stars and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are both airing at the same time. So like, there's a lot of TV already for me to watch. So TBD on if I'll watch The Bachelorette. But I do think this is a smart choice in terms of the Bachelor and Bachelorette franchise needing a kind of revival. I think they've kind of been on the outs for a while. They were kind of like the head honcho of dating shows for so long, and they've definitely kind of lost their buzz. So I feel like this is smart to kind of get more eyes on the show, but I'm not sure that it'll carry on the longevity for seasons to come. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They'll get my prediction is that they're going to get a really big influx of viewers for this season for Taylor specifically. And I don't think they're all going to stay on for the show after. Like, I don't think it's going to have as much return as they're expecting. But if they just want a season with like killer ratings, they're going to get it. So you know what? If that's their goal, you did what you had to do. But I do think longevity is a little more important when it comes to something like this. But again, I'm not a casting director. I'm not behind the scenes on this. What do I know? Moving on to the next moment of the week that was just too pop to handle. Some very exciting, but also some very premature, so it feels, Coachella news. The Coachella lineup is here, and it is incredibly early. Typically, I feel like we don't get the Coachella lineup until like November. One year we got it like January, I feel like, of the year of the festival. So like, the fact that we had this in September, we are 7 months out from the festival, and they have already dropped the lineup. Now, I'm assuming it's because I saw reports last week that Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G were confirmed to be headlining, and they didn't want anything more to leak because the third headliner really was so major, and that is Justin Bieber. I mean, of course, Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G are huge names to be headlining, and like Sabrina told us, I'll see you guys when I headline. Like, she wasn't lying. And not to mention, Karol G is now the first Latina headliner of Coachella ever, which A, is so exciting, and B, why did it take so long for a Latina to, headline Coachella? But that being said, the fact that Justin Bieber is headlining Coachella is so wild to me for a plethora of reasons, and for all the same reasons that you're all having. I mean, I genuinely never thought we were going to see this kid on a stage again. Like, I never thought, in terms of like his own show, of course he came out at the GNX tour with SZA, and he does appearances here and there, but I really did not think we were going to get a single live performance in the Swag 2 era, or just a performance from Justin Bieber ever again, genuinely. And that's not because like I didn't think he was capable of it. I just thought he didn't like doing it, so he didn't want to do it anymore. So for him to go from truly 0 to 100 in terms, I mean, Coachella is one of the biggest, if not the biggest stages that you can perform on as an artist. And I feel like he's one of those artists where it's like, why hasn't he done it yet? Like, why has he not headlined Coachella yet? So it just makes sense that like he's finally doing it. But I truly never thought we would see the day. Like, I've never been so happy for a fandom in my life, because I feel like the Beliebers are finally having this like redemption era where like they're getting 44 songs, which I think is excessive, but you know what? They've been in a drought. Do what you got to do. And now they're going to get 2 weekends of Justin Bieber performing at Coachella. Very exciting for all the Beliebers out there. I hope you guys are, relishing in this, because I'm not going to lie, you're probably not going to get this again for quite some time. That being said, I am curious what kind of, clause they put in their contract to make sure he doesn't pull out last minute, because because like he's known to cancel a performance or two. So I hope that, you know, for everybody else's sake, that he doesn't pull any shenanigans and, you know, he actually is performing and isn't just up there doing some, you know, interpretive dance shit and actually does put on a performance and dances and performs the way that he used to. But we will have to wait until April to see. But like I said, Sabrina, Justin, Karol are our Coachella headliners. And we also have some other very exciting performers on the list this year. And I think the person that I'm most excited for should come to no shock to any of you, but it is Miss Addison Rae. You guys know I have been waiting for the Addison Rae world domination moment for years at this point. And seeing her on the Coachella lineup, I am so excited to see her Coachella performance because I just know she's going to bring something so fun and so silly to the Coachella stage. I cannot wait. Also exciting seeing Slater on this lineup. I feel like she's really having a moment right now, and I love to see her on a Coachella lineup that is huge, and I cannot wait to see what she brings to Coachella. Pat Saya is also performing, which is major. People are going to go nuts for their performance. I cannot wait. Pink Panthers is on the list. Foster the People, who I love. Ethel Cain. Labyrinth, which we all remember back in 2022, 2023 when they brought out Zendaya. We know Euphoria is coming out next year. I wonder if we're going to get another Labyrinth Zendaya crossover. Probably not, but you never know what could happen. And somebody else on the list who I'm very excited to see is an artist that I've really been loving lately. She is kind of new to the scene. She just opened for Olivia Rodrigo overseas. And if you listened a few weeks ago, I talked about her because she released that song called New Friends. It is Flower of Love. And she actually just dropped a new song called I'm Your First. And I've been obsessed with it. I just found it like a week ago. I saw it come up on like Music You Might Like. And I was like, oh my God, I need to tell everybody about this song. And when I saw her on the Coachella lineup, I was like, this is my gateway in. If you were not listening to Flower of Love yet, I'm telling you, she's going to be one of the big things. I think next year, I really think she's going to have a major moment. And this new song, I'm Your First, is incredible. So I was so excited to see her on the Coachella lineup that she's already kind of getting these main moment kind of, you know, in her career. Very, very excited for her. She is so cute and I cannot wait to see what she goes on to do in the next year or so. Very exciting there. The lineup is pretty good. I'm not like gagging over the lineup. I feel like last year and the year before, I really was like, oh my God, this lineup was made for me. This year it's not so much made for me, but I mean, it can't always be perfect, but it is a good lineup. Like, you know, I mean, Sabrina, Karol, Justin, like those are some big headliners. They're definitely going to put on a crazy show. And there are a lot of people, you know, a lot of really fun artists on the lineup just underneath them. So, you know, I always say, I'm like, I still have yet to make my way to the desert. I've yet to make my Coachella debut. Will 2026 be the year? Probably not, but you know, we will see, you know, never say never. Maybe I will be there. Maybe a brand will fly me out. Maybe, you know, we'll manifest that for 2026, but that is something, you know, for another day, but very exciting. I really am so excited for the Beliebers for this. Like, I'm not the biggest Justin Bieber fan. I don't really listen to him much. I appreciate who he is. I mean, he was the biggest pop star of the early 2010s. I feel like he was the moment, and the fact that his Beliebers are getting this moment, I am so happy for you guys. And I'm going to watch from afar. And I think that is a respectful thing to do. I'm not going to take up space where, you know, I don't need to. And moving on to the final moment of the week that was just too pop to handle, our main segment of this week's episode is the 77th Annual Emmy Awards. Now, I feel like I've talked a lot about the Emmys this year, mainly because of the Beyonce of it all. I mean, I was so excited for her to get nominated. Then when she won a few weeks ago for Outstanding Costumes, I was sure she was going to show up to the Emmy Awards. And much like you guys, I was let down. I really thought she was going to show up. Like I was convinced she was showing up, winning her award on television, accepting it, and then like dropping the Cowboy Carter movie trailer, and like we were going to get an end to the Cowboy Carter era. But that being said, we're kind of just in this limbo with what is next for Beyonce. And like on one hand, I'm like, you know what? She will give it to us when we want it. And on the other, I'm like, I'm terrified of this woman. Like she could legitimately do whatever she wants at any moment. The Emmys was like the last like obvious place for her to do something. And we didn't get anything. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to just wake up one random day and get a new this, a new that. Like she is really just like, we really got to be on Beyonce watch right now because she could come at us at any day, any minute, any moment. And we're not prepared. We will see what is next and who knows. But I mean, the Emmys theories are out the door and it is kind of an open book on what is next for Beyonce. But that being said, back to the, you know, topic at hand, the Emmys. I thought they were fine. I didn't think it was like a groundbreaking, great television show. I thought there was like a lot of really groundbreaking moments. I mean, like seeing all of the historic wins and seeing Hannah Einbinder get her Emmy finally, like very exciting. But as far as like award shows, it wasn't like the best award show in the world, I thought. We were saying at work today how like, unfortunately, Nikki Glaser just set the bar so high for award show hosts at the top of the year with the Golden Globes that like automatically when you announce that your show is being hosted by anybody other than Nikki Glaser, especially when it's being hosted by a man, it just kind of like knocks a few points off of it by default, which is nobody's fault. It just kind of is the way of the world, which like kudos to Nikki Glaser. Cannot wait for the Golden Globes next year already. But like, how do we get more Nikki Glaser-esque people hosting these shows? I don't know who needs to, hear this message, but please let's get more like female comedians, maybe a Gabby Windy, a Hannah Berner. Like let's get these divas hosting these award shows because I automatically know they will get 10 times better. But that being said, we're going to go into some of the things that were a little of a letdown for me. There's not many. There's like 3 things that I was really personally hurt by, which I'm sure you can imagine just knowing who I am. And then we talked about the exciting things, because there were a plethora of very exciting things. So kicking it off with the bad, we'll start on the low and then we'll go to the high. I was crushed to see that Abbott Elementary, The White Lotus, and RuPaul's Drag Race all got nothing. They were all nominated. The White Lotus had 23 nominations and they didn't get a single award, which feels incredibly wrong. Like, how are you nominated for 23 awards when there's only there's got to be 50 awards. They're nominated for so many awards and they don't get a single Emmy for this year. Like, it just feels incorrect. And I know that The White Lotus was a little controversial this season. And I did a whole episode on my thoughts on the season, like back when it finished. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really great season. I thought there was a lot of really fun moments with the characters developing and, seeing them all kind of like change and grow throughout the season. But I guess the Academy did not think so because they walked home with nothing. And they also did not award a single Emmy Emmy. I'm like, did I say Grammy? No, Emmy to Abbott Elementary, which Abbott just gets better and better every single season, in my opinion. And like seeing them get nominated, they got like 4 or 5 nominations, like not even a Janelle James, not a Quinta, not a writing, nothing. Like they didn't get a single Emmy, which hurts me. But you know what? What are we going to do about it? It's still a fantastic show. Quinta Brunson will always be famous. And like, what is a little rinky-dink award at that? But that being said, let's get into these rinky-dink awards because I am very excited to announce that Hannah Einbinder has finally taken home the Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Season for Hacks. This is her 4th time being nominated for this award, and she finally took it home. And not only did she take it home, I feel like she took home the entire night. She really was the moment of the entire show. I mean, the entire time they showed her on camera, she was making sure her pin was being shown so she could, make a political statement. When she got up on stage, she did her acceptance speech and she made sure to throw in, some words of encouragement, a little go birds, a little fuck ice, some free Palestine. In today's political climate, we need people to be using their platforms to stand up for what is right. And I love to see that Hannah Einbinder is not afraid to do it. And she did it very tastefully. She wasn't aggressive. She wasn't nasty. She simply said what she needed to say and walked off the stage. And let alone her being politically, forward and being, activist in that sense. Seeing Hannah finally get an Emmy for this role that she has just put her heart and soul into. I mean, she has truly developed not just Ava, but really the entire show and cast of Hacks so incredibly well. And seeing her get this award was so heartwarming. Like Hannah Einbinder being an Emmy winner, it just feels so correct to me. And I mean, the entire internet is saying it, but we all know this scene that really secured her Emmy was when she threw the Branzino at the glass door. It was just comedic gold. And I mean, Hacks just gets better and better every single season. And I love the fact that like she is finally getting awarded for this. Also got to see Jean Smart take home her 4th Outstanding Actress in a Comedy Series Emmy for her role as Deborah Vance, which I mean is so well deserved. It's her 7th Emmy overall, but her 4th time winning for Hacks. And I just think it really speaks to how incredible this show is and the fact that like she is able to take this Emmy home year after year for this role. I love this show so much, and it does break my heart that the 5th season is confirmed to be the final one. But I do understand that like all good things have to come to an end. And I do really appreciate that Hannah and the rest of the team know like, hey, it's time to end the show. The characters have come to a certain point within the show that like, we're just going to be beating a dead horse at this point if we keep the show going. And like, I do have to respect that, but it does really hurt to know that like the next season is the final, but at least we have a warning and we have a cushion and we can kind of, we can ease into it. Also thrilled to see that we saw Julianne Nicholson, who played Dance Mom on the season, take home for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series. Her and Robbie Hoffman were both nominated for their roles on this season. So I'm happy that one of them took it, because I do think their characters both added such a fun like supplement into the season. Just a great season of Hacks overall. And I love to see everybody getting their flowers where flowers are due. We also saw the Traitors take home all 5 Emmys that they were nominated for, which were Outstanding Reality Competition, Outstanding Host for Alan Cumming, Outstanding Directing for a Reality Program, Outstanding Cinematography for a Reality Program, and Outstanding Picture Editing for a Structured Reality or Competition Program. They really go with these titles. Like, they're really fucking long. But yes, every single Emmy that the Traitors was nominated for, they took home this year, which is incredible. I mean, this season of the Traitors was so good. Like, it was so well done. And I mean, with Gabby Windey, Dylan Efron, Dolo, like everyone really just like had their moments on this season. I'm thrilled to see that it is getting the awards that it deserves, though that does mean that Drag Race did not take home their awards and RuPaul did not win the Outstanding Host for a Reality Show. But I mean, if it's not going to be RuPaul, I am very happy that it is Alan Cumming, because, they have the same vibes, it's like 2 elder gay men. And I am very, very thrilled to see that at least we're getting some gay representation on the Emmy stage. Another very exciting Emmy win that we had was seeing Stephen Colbert take home the Emmy for Outstanding Talk Series. I mean, even earlier in the night when he went out and it presented his award and everybody gave him a standing ovation and was cheering for him simply walking on stage, it is really nice seeing the entire industry kind of rally behind him when there's some people who are kind of preying on his downfall with his show getting canceled next year and everything. So this felt like a really big victory lap for him and just the entire show and what it stands for. I did think his speech was a little weird. I was like, obviously he was kind of playing into a skit or a bit almost. Like, obviously he is not God blessing America and he is not loving our country, because his political statements is what is taking him off the air. But I do understand that like if he did say anything out of line, he probably would have gotten who the fuck knows in these days and age. So like, I understand he kind of had to play into the bit and, kind of had to like he said, go higher in the elevator, whatever the fuck he said. That was also kind of strange, because I was like, if the elevator is going down and you punch higher, that doesn't mean you're going to go higher. The elevator is still going down. But like, you know what? He got the Emmy. They were celebrated Stephen. That's all I really care about. Say whatever you want on the stage. I don't really care. But very exciting to see Stephen Colbert being celebrated in that way. Another very exciting moment was seeing the Gilmore Girls reunion. I mean, Alexis Bledel, Lauren Graham, what more could you ask for? I love Lauren's little bit saying that, this show premiered 20 whatever years ago and instantly stole the season of fall, because it is that time of year where I'm itching to rewatch Gilmore Girls, because they really do own that season. So I love seeing them playing into that. I love seeing them back together again. Very exciting there. And there's some exciting just like record breakers that we had. We saw the studio break the all-time record for most Emmy wins in a comedy series, earning 13 awards. We also saw Severance star Tremel Tillman become the first Black actor to win an Emmy in the Best Supporting Drama category, which on one hand, so exciting to see that we are having these major historic wins, but also why the hell did it take so long for a Black actor to win this category? But nonetheless, we celebrate. And then the final exciting thing from the night that I have is that Owen Cooper became the youngest male actor to ever win an Emmy Award at age 15. He won for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series for his role in Adolescence. Just so exciting to see somebody so young taking home an Emmy Award. I mean, there's such a different, I feel like, world in which young Hollywood exists now than back in the day. So to see somebody so young taking home such a prestigious award is very exciting. And we love to celebrate anybody having a historic win here on Too Pop to Handle. And that is the 77th Annual Emmy Awards. I mean, like I said, the show wasn't anything to go home about. It wasn't like the most groundbreaking award show ever. But I mean, Hannah Einbinder alone stole the show for me. So for that, I give her all of the flowers. Oh my God, another moment that I love that I completely forgot until just now. There was a moment where like Martin Short was smiling ear to ear in his phone, texting somebody. And Selena turns to Benny and she goes, he's texting Meryl. And like the fact that they got that on camera was just like perfectly timed for whoever was behind that camera. And just seeing the way he was smiling while he was texting her was just so sweet. And I love their relationship. I know it's like, we don't talk about it. It's like not confirmed, but like, it's basically confirmed, right? Like we can talk about it. I don't want to, get into anybody else's business, but like We all know. And that is the 77th Annual Emmys, another one in the book. And that just means it's time to start watching more TV. We know Abbott comes back, Dancing with the Stars is on right now, Housewives of Salt Lake City is on right now. Lots coming up in the TV world in the next few weeks. So we will be booked and busy when it comes to the television game. Speaking of the television game, no TV recap again this week because the shows are all starting this week. So starting next week, we'll have a full TV recap once again, and we will be getting back to our regular groove. I feel like I've been off the TV game for a minute, but we will get right back into it next week. Don't you worry, which means we have made it to the final segment of the episode, which is my yes and my mess. We end every single episode with something I am loving, my yes, and something I am not loving, my mess of every single week. And we always start things on a high note here at Too Pop to Handle. So kicking it off with my yes, and my yes this week is the way that the UK is welcoming Donald Trump into Windsor Castle. So he is over there doing whatever the fuck he is doing. I don't know, don't care. Didn't even care to read much about it. But he is in the UK this week. And an activist group called Everyone Hates Elon, which obsessed with that name, put a giant, and I mean giant, massive photo of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein on the lawn of Windsor Castle, where he will be staying. And I just love that even when this man travels out of our country, he does not know peace. They are on his neck and they're like, no, we all hate you. You're not even our president and we hate you. And the fact that they got, like, this photo was massive, you guys. It was like on a giant tarp. It was huge. And I just think that is the warmest possible welcome that we could give this man, because like we know what you're hiding. Like, we're not dumb. We know that you think we are. Actually, he even said, he was like, smart people don't like me. So he knows that the smart people aren't on his side. We know what you're hiding. We know what's going on. And the fact that he was welcomed to the UK in this way is chef's fucking kiss. I am obsessed. And switching gears over to my mess for the week is no other than Travis Kelce, which I know might come to a shock because you guys know I love Taylor and Travis. I love them together. So excited for their engagement and the wedding and everything like that. However, he was seen wearing a t-shirt during practice the other day that said "Free 4" on it. And he wasn't the only one. It was a lot of people on the team wearing these shirts. But basically the sentiment behind it is because one of their teammates, Rashee Rice, is currently suspended for going 119 miles an hour in his Lamborghini, crashing his car into 6 vehicles, injuring 4 people, and then fleeing the scene. And they are wearing t-shirts saying to free this man and to let him play and let him, just return to life as normal. And, I can understand rooting for your teammate if he was like wrongly accused of something, if he did something that he is getting blamed for that he actually didn't do. He fully caused a 6-car pileup, injured 4 people, and then fled the scene and tried to get away from it. I'm sorry, that is not somebody who you rally behind and cheer for to get out. That is somebody who you're like, no, you fucked up, do your time. People make mistakes, it is what it is, but you could have killed somebody and you tried to flee the scene so you wouldn't get in trouble for it. I don't care who you are. A, don't drive like a fucking asshole. And B, I don't care if he's your teammate. Don't rally behind him in support of him and try to act like he didn't do something completely dangerous and reckless. I just did not love that look. And again, sure, you're a football team. You're a team. You're all together. He's suspended. I don't give a fuck. Knock some sense into the guy next time, because if you think that is okay, and if you think reckless driving, fleeing the scene is a fine thing to just get off with oh, haha, it's a warning, boys being boys. Travis, I am not proud of the way you're handling this, because no, it's not cute. It's not a good look. Not a good look for the guy on the Chiefs. But yes, that is my mess for the week. And that means we have made it to the end of this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you leave me a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and hit subscribe, drop a thumbs up, drop a comment down below. If you would like some extra moments for the week that were just Too Pop to Handle in between podcast episodes, make sure you head to my Substack, toopoptohandle.substack.com, or just click the link in my bio and subscribe to my weekly newsletter Popping In, where I send you extra moments of the week that were Too Pop to Handle in between podcast episodes. And if all of that is not enough, you can always follow me on social media at Too Pop to Handle or at Andrew Ducatola across all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.